Howdy there, viewer. Please excuse the lack of quality in this video. It will get better, I promise. This is the best car in the world. Yes, I said it. That's right. This is the best car in the world. But wait. Don't leave. Don't leave yet. Hear me out. First, the statement I made is relative. And as you know, that means in one's opinion. Meaning that to me, this is the best car in the world. To you, it might be your 1995 Suburban with its gas-guzzling V8 and acres of room inside. Or it could be your 1990 Geo Metro with its roaring 3 cylinders and the weight of a Coke can. That's all fine and dandy, but yeah, just please hear me out on this one. Hear me out. This is my 2008 Toyota Prius that I purchased back in July of 2018 with 114,000 miles from the original owner who took great care of it. This car was mint when I got it. It was like brand new. I purchased this car after 3 years of searching online for the perfect low mileage example. When this popped up finally online, I was on it, and I'm serious. It was about 8 seconds after it was listed. Called the guy and we got to it. Yes, I wanted one so bad. What's the mileage on this car, you're probably asking? Well, it has 215,000 miles. Even though the cluster shows 263,000, and that's because my cluster went kaput on me around 8,000 miles ago. I purchased a used one from a guy that was parting out a car, said it had 155,000 on the cluster. When I put it on, it had 255,000. I've driven this car through 43 states and drove to Mexico 7 times. I totaled 100,000 miles in this car in 1 year. In 1 year, I put 100,000 miles. That's insane. For those of you who are wondering, I live in Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, for reference, I drove a lot in this car. Well, you're probably wondering, how robust is it? Is it durable? Is it a piece of shit? Well, you're wrong. It's not a piece of shit. This car is actually pretty damn good. I went, in those 100,000 miles that I drove through the whole United States and went to Mexico 7 times, 50,000 out of those 100,000 miles, I went without an oil change. And the last 10,000 miles of that 50, I had no oil. Every time I hit the brake, the red triangle of death on the cluster kept coming on because I had no oil. I know it's terrible, but I did all that on purpose. I wasn't afraid of messing the car up. I could probably fix it if I had to, so I wasn't too worried about that. You're also probably wondering, what does it cost to own this car? Well, it's dirt cheap. Cheaper than dirt. I mean, peanuts. This thing is very cheap. As cheap as maintaining a Corolla. Spark plugs are cheap. The brakes are cheap. The only thing that isn't cheap is if you live in California and you get your catalytic converter stolen, yeah, then you're fucked. But other than that, this thing is cheaper than dirt to own, maintain. The insurance is not as bad. I live in Detroit where insurance is through the roof. I think we got the worst insurance in the country. And it's not that bad. It's really cheap, and it's cheap to own. Parts are readily available. You can get them anywhere, and they're cheap. And no, you cannot, absolutely not fit any bodies in this trunk. You cannot. Please don't try this at home. That's a toy. It's not a real human being. Well, now you're probably wondering what's the good and the bad about owning one of these cars. Well, the fuel economy is an obvious thing. I get minimum 40 mpg. I always get 45, 50 mpg anywhere I'm going. Highway or city, it doesn't matter. I'm always getting good gas mileage. It's very durable, practical, reasonably comfortable, cheaper than dirt to own and maintain. Plus, it looks pretty good. This scene here with this rear fog light, I can explain that in another video. It's a mod that I make to all my cars. If any of you are wondering, I can make a video on that. You should pick one of these up. They are reasonably priced. You could get one for around $1,500, $2,000. Some of these are overpriced. They're like $4,000 or $5,000 with high miles. That's crazy. I don't agree with that. But yeah, you should look into buying one of these. These cars are great. They're awesome. Great car for a first, for a kid that's learning to drive, or first car for someone, or if you just want to get around in something that, rides decent and gets you good fuel economy. I absolutely recommend these cars. Thank you for watching. This is me in Mexico riding shotgun with my wife driving me around. Those place have that Bento's place, they have the best rice balls in Mexico. Thank you for watching.